The national anthem of Jordan, Long Live the King, ahead of this big World Cup playoff. The first leg from the Amman International Stadium. It's Jordan against Uruguay. Hello from Will Downing. Luis Suarez and company needed the playoffs to get through to the last World Cup, and it was a path that brought them all the way to the semi-finals. It's another exotic locale for them, the first ever competitive senior international between these two nations that they have previously met at an under-20 World Cup, in which most of the Jordanian squad in place today featured in. And Uruguay won that by a lone goal to nil. So let's run through the sides. There are a number of notable names for you to watch out for. Khalil Benatea has scored quite a number of notable goals along the way to glory. They are playing their third choice goalkeeper, Mohamed Shatnawi of Al Faisali, the league champions of 2012. Elsewhere, Sharif Nassar, Tariq Katab, Saeed Al Murjan have all enjoyed success at recent Asian Cups. They reached the quarterfinals in 2011. Also recent winners of the West Asian Championships. The Crown Prince meeting the various squads, and it is a massive date, the biggest in the history of Jordanian football. It is the first time they've got this close to a World Cup finals. Uruguay, in terms of the squad, certainly taking things seriously. The media back home, and perhaps a lot of the public, less so. Uruguayan side among expected lines. That means on the bench today is Diego Forlan, but Luis Suarez does start, along with Edison Cavani of the French league leaders, Paris Saint-Germain. Very much as strong a squad as they could have expected. Martin Silva starts in goal in only his third international appearance. Big game also for our Norwegian referee, Svein Oddmar Moen, and the assistants are Kim Haglund and Frank Andas. It's a red letter day for the men in red. But it doesn't end here. It's off to Montevideo next week for the second leg, when the tie will be won and lost. Adai Al-Saifi, man on whom a huge amount is being pinned this evening. The number 2 there, Sharif Nassar, a wonderfully experienced defender. Plays for Al Faisali, has seen a huge amount of success with the dominant side in the Jordanian league over the past 10 years. He's won 6 league titles, but they're all coming together as one. They say they're all Arabs today, no matter what the background. Hossam Hassan, you may remember, with a really good Egyptian side through the 80s and 90s. They played in Italia 90, and Hossam Hassan is assisted by his twin brother Ibrahim. Between them, 301 caps for Egypt. Number 19, Ali Al-Bashir. I expect a lot from him in midfield today. The great Oscar Washington Tabares, man who guided Uruguay to the 2011 Copa America title and the semi-finals of the 2010 World Cup. They had to get through the playoffs last time, and they have to get through another tricky tie here. It was Costa Rica 4 years ago. It's Jordan in 2009. A major date of destiny, particularly for Jordan. Uruguay will presumably be happy to come here, and a draw or a win will be fine. An away goal, certainly. So here we go, the World Cup playoffs are underway. Some big names competing in these in the next week. Mexico face New Zealand tonight. We've Sweden and Portugal, France, Ukraine amongst the European playoffs later in the week. But right now, in the Amman International Stadium. It's a direct shootout between Jordan and Uruguay. Played long down the wing by Ade Zaran, and he's played it up towards Hatem Akel. Paniataya, who's been a regular goal scorer in the qualifiers, was in a really good position to try and take some sort of advantage there. Held up by Suarez, Cavani making the break forward. Foul by Saeed Mourjan. They are regular finalists in Arabic, Pan-Arabic competitions at Jordan, and also in the West Asian Championships, but they made the real breakthrough in a continental sense in the past few years by qualifying for the Asian Games twice. It's a solid header away. So pushing up is Adai Kader El Saifi, man who's helped Jordan qualify for the Under-22 Asian Cup, which is played next year. They finished top of their group, played for, won for. Adnan Hassan, and the shot, a real tester for Martin Silva. Got down well, got the save too. But already testing times for Uruguay defensively. Did well to get the shot away. We played 3.5 minutes. Suarez, Cavani in support. Well, they brought 5 back once the ball had reached Suarez. It was a decent try, 25-yarder by Adnan Hassan. And a good save. The free kick will be Suarez's. Potential pressure on the goal of Mohamed Shatnawi in the Jordan goal. He of Al Faisali also. Major coming together of all factions of the Jordanian game to get them to this level. Same for Cavani. It wasn't a great free kick by Suarez, but it will still be a throw for Uruguay. Martin Cáceres with the excellent throw originally, which opened the door up, and it was right in the centre for Suarez, and he absolutely ballooned it. Superb opening for Uruguay. Well, I'm not sure if Hossam Hassan was looking for a whistle or telling a side to play for the whistle. It certainly looked out, and they were appealing as the shot was being put over the top by Suarez. What a glorious opportunity for Uruguay to take the lead. Extra level of professionalism needed from the Jordanian squad here. It's not a fully professional league. All but 3 of their squad play domestically. So Oscar Tabarez' side could have gone in front, could have gone behind. Cáceres will take the throw for Uruguay. Totally given away, and it's been won back by Saeed Al Morjan, who plays his football in Kuwait. And it needed Dicio Arevalo Rios, the big burly US-based stopper, to get in the way, get it out. Adnan will take the throw in for Jordan. And they'll have another one. And we've seen a lot of the early play as Arevalo Rios, recently signed by Chicago Fire in the MLS from Palermo. Nizar, it's a decent cross, and it was aimed for Adnan Adouis Hassan, who was on the edge of the Uruguay area. And here goes Suarez for Uruguay here, looks up, sees support from Cavani. It wasn't the right ball, and the situation was changing all the time. That one aimed far too long for Adnan Hassan in the end. And Hossam Hassan, well, he led the move for this game to be switched to the Amman International Stadium, which only has a capacity of 25,000. There are bigger stadiums within the nation, but they felt they had a bigger chance in a ground like this. Header away by Hatem Mekel, the Jordan captain, but Suarez takes it up for Uruguay here. Really good cross, aimed in the centre. Evaded Ladero, and it was too off the mark to find Cavani. Rodriguez gives the free kick away. Foul by Adnan Adouis Hassan, who made his way back from his attacking position, and that's where he's gone back to now. Lugano. Expect to see a lot of the Jordanian coach today. 176 international appearances for Egypt, won 13 league titles. His assistant and twin brother Ibrahim won 14. Free kick and a yellow card, and potentially a key yellow card too, and it appears to have gone against Adai Kadir El Saifi, who plays his football domestically with Shabab Al Ordon, the reigning league champions of Jordan, who broke the stranglehold held quite impressively by El Faisali, who won most of the league titles of the noughties, 6 of the 10, and puts Jordan in a tricky defensive situation here. Ladero and Suarez are around this. How much does Suarez fancy this? He'll give it a decent crack in towards the middle. It was aimed towards Cavani, a strong punch away by Shatnawi in the Jordanian goal. Roll past Martin Cáceres. The Juventus left back, who was unable to do a huge amount with it. Adai El Saifi hasn't featured in any of the recent international championships for the Jordanian national team. That's where a lot of this squad have gained their experience, plus that aforementioned Under-20 World Cup in Canada 6 years ago, in which Cavani scored the only goal. Cruncher of a challenge from Tariq Zayed of Al Wahdat, who are currently top of the league in Jordan. They pulled together as strong a squad as possible. They do have a number of players missing from this big game. Maxi Pereira of Benfica. Rios couldn't thread it forward towards Cavani. Good slide in by the Uruguayan skipper Diego Lugano. Plays in England now with West Bromwich Albion, but they gave him the weekend off because of this big game. Others, such as Suarez and Cavani, did play at the weekend for their respective clubs, Liverpool and Paris Saint-Germain, which did not go down well with the Uruguayan coach Oscar Tabarez, but he said, well, it's a 5-day rule, and they played just before it. There's nothing we can do about it. It's not a 6-day rule. Kept in by Ode Saran, and he's seen that one effectively blocked by Ladero. Thrown for Ahmad Ibrahim, who's Kuwaiti-based. Jordan without the regular first-choice goalkeeper Amr Shafi. He's suspended after being booked for time wasting in their Asian playoff win over Uzbekistan. And Amir Deeb, regular goal scorer for them, he's a midfielder. He's suspended from this first leg, and as a result, he's been left out of the squad altogether and won't feature next week on top of today. Best chance falling to Suarez so far, that gilt-edged opportunity, which, considering the form he's in for his club, considering the goals he's put away for Liverpool so far this season, he scored 18 league goals in the calendar year in England. You'd have definitely expected him to put that away. Ladero. Aim for Cavani in the middle, but a good flick away by Tarek Zayed. Christian Rodriguez worked it well. Certainly looked as if he'd won the corner kick. It was a lot of work, and okay, it clipped off his right foot in the end, and that's a very good decision and a very strong spot by Kim Haglund, the assistant, and Svein Ottmar Moen, the Norwegian referee. So Mohamed Shetnawi, third choice Jordanian goalkeeper. It's only his fourth international appearance, but does play for the side that won the Jordanian League last year, El Faisali, the one that's been the most trophy-laden side of the past 15 years. Here's Cáceres. Diego Godin of Atletico Madrid, who are really putting things up to Real and Barcelona right now in the Primera Liga. Hatem Akel with the headache. And Svein Ottmar Moen hoping to avoid one. Given against Duani of Espanyol. Ala Al-Shakran of Al Ramta, who was in the side that reached the final of the Pan-Arab Games of 2011, which is a la the Olympics, or the Pan-American Games. Way by Martin Silva. Reached the Copa Libertadores final this year, beaten by Atletico Mineiro, or Olimpia. Suarez taking on Sharif Adnan. Excellent ball in towards the centre, and it just wouldn't fall properly for Stuani. And Lugano was on the mark. And Ahmad Ibrahim goes down, and he's waving an imaginary yellow card himself, which referees are told to clamp down on these days. Lugano coming in from the back, and I think Ibrahim was maybe protesting a bit too much and then fell over just to make sure. Yes, it was a foul, but not as physical as the Jordan striker was suggesting. Twice a league winner with Al Faisali. Jordanian clubs have been quite successful on the Asian scene and on the Arabic scene. They play in 2 Champions Leagues. The Arabian Champions League takes in the Middle East and North Africa, particularly Egypt. Captain for Jordan, for example, Hatem Akal has twice won the AFC Cup, which is basically the Asian equivalent of the Europa League, with Al Faisali, now with Tatras. Actually was in the side that won the Pan-Arab Games in 1999. So they've had a lot of success, but not a particularly high level. Reaching their first ever World Cup finals would certainly be a threshold and definitely a breakthrough. Tarek Kitab Sehad sent it towards the touchline on this near side, aimed for Adnan Hassan, and that will be another red ball. Coming in from the back was Martin Cáceres of Juventus. First leg for Uruguay 4 years ago was away to Costa Rica, and they edged that by a goal to nil. It was only 1-1 in the home leg. That's a dramatically long shot. That is Copa Libertadores style from Saeed Al Morhan of the Kuwaiti club Kazma. Scores occasionally, this midfielder. It's his 46th appearance for Jordan. He's netted 5 times before. And because of the amount of qualifiers that are played, only made his debut 4 years ago, but he's close to 50 caps for Jordan already. They have the first corner of the game. Adnan Adus Hassan will take. Baniate has made his way up, but it's a short one instead for Ahmad Ibrahim. And a chance for Adnan Hassan to cross it in, and it wasn't a bad ball at all, aimed for Oday Kadir El Saifi, who's got it here, and it's a tight-angled strike, and that's a very good save by Silva, who pulled himself across the goal and had to make sure that that wasn't going to creep in, and it was going to creep in. Across more than a shot, surely, but look at the trajectory, that was heading in. Jordan are really putting it up to Uruguay here. Good tight angle effort that was by El Saifi. It's a corner. And any Uruguayan who is taking this for granted obviously forgot the playoff of 4 years ago. Uruguayan fans have been spoiled with how the national team's done since that playoff 4 years ago this week. World Cup semi-finalists, Copa America winners. Like last time, it wasn't a straightforward qualifying campaign under Oscar Tabarez, but they rallied. Needed a huge victory on the final night of qualifiers against Argentina to make it. But instead, a playoff spot. At least they did a lot better than the side they beat in the Copa America final of 2011 in Paraguay. Finished towards the bottom, change of management there. Tata Martino now certainly has moved on, in charge of Barcelona, having guided Newell's Old Boys to the Argentine title. No free kick for Ahmed Hayal Ibrahim. They've 4 men in the squad who play outside Jordan. 2 in Kuwait, 1 in Saudi Arabia, Mohamed Mustafa. And the Romanian-based Tahar Balwab, who no doubt we will see a little later on, has played a lot of his career in Spain. Hatem Akal. Given away poorly. Now Cavani, first touch wasn't the best. He was very lucky to get a second, but was always playing catch-up. by Diego Godin. Pressure still being put on this Uruguayan defence. Adnan Hassan couldn't get it too far across, away by Lugano. Brought forward by Maximiliano Pereira. Stuani. It's only got 2-8 for in the middle, and Pereira made a good break in towards the area himself, and it's in the back of the net by Maxi Pereira, and it's a big opening goal for Uruguay. It's only the third he's scored for his country in almost 100 games, but possibly the biggest he'll get in his career. Maxi Pereira last scored for Uruguay in the World Cup semi-final against the Netherlands. They lost that one. They're looking to win this one. An unusually rare break forward for Maxi Pereira, but he continued on, having lost the ball first time. And watch him scout across the area. Cavani with the flick back. And Cavani must have been as shocked as anyone to see it was Pereira was the man to pop up in the edge of the 6-yard box to put this home. It was parried by Shatnawi. It's Jordan 0, Uruguay 1. Well, Jordan attacked very well, very impressively, but have now conceded. Their response will be interesting. It's Suarez. Good combination with Cavani. Suarez with the tee up. Forward by Lugano. Arevalo Rios swung and missed. Picked up by Morshat. Cáceres did well to get in ahead of Ahmed Hayal Ibrahim. He was top scorer in the Jordanian League in 2012, so Uruguay may be in front, but again, a man to watch. Back by Christian Stuani. He's really emerged in the past year in the Uruguayan first team. It's only his 6th international appearance, having been top scorer in his domestic league 5 years ago. It was put out by Tarek Zayed. Well, Tabarez's men in front. Thanks to a third international goal in his 86th appearance for Uruguay for Maxi Pereira. Ladero tried to keep it alive, and that was the header that was supposed to go straight instead of straight out from Tarek Zayed. Ladero. Cáceres up in this left wing, but it's gone out for the Jordanian throw. Big away goal that Hossam Hassan has to battle against now. Pulled back by Christian Rodriguez. All the way across for our goal scorer, Maxi Pereira. Arevalo Rios. Decent ball short for Ladero. Now on this near side, Cáceres. Christian Rodriguez. It was a promising move, but it's not broken up yet. Cáceres. Maxi Pereira. Will be another Uruguayan throw to help their possession. Aim for Christian Stuani, now with Espanyol. They were bottom of the league when Mauricio Pochettino was sacked a year ago exactly, but they finished 13th, they rallied well. And it's his form in Spain which has seen him given the big call-up. Too high for Cavani this time. Nodded down by Arevalo Rios. This now is Cáceres. Wide for Rodriguez, and wide it is. Mopped up a lot of the early Jordanian pressure. Struck with 22 minutes played. A good finish by Maxi Pereira, but you could argue a goal that only came about because Pereira did the unusual. Carried on going forward and found himself with an open goal in front. Bad blow for Jordan, who'd performed so well prior to that. Now find themselves in the back foot, and their reaction so far has not seen them play with any greater positivity. They played very well for the first 20 minutes, but they've gone somewhat flat since the goal. Uday Zaran. Al-Shakran. They've reached two recent finals of the West Asian Championship, twice quarter-finalists of the Asian Cup in the last 2 years. Didn't qualify for this year's Asian Cup. Suarez. Still Suarez, went down in the area right under the nose of Svein Moen, the Norwegian referee. Cavani, though, managed to get it back in an advantageous position, but couldn't get the finish away. Forward by Al Saifi, and very quickly blocked, and now helped on by Khalil Baniataya. Big goal against Uzbekistan in the playoff. Forward by Uday Zaran. Easily cut out by Diego Lugano, and now it'll be helped further forward. Free kick against Suarez. Well, he's had a couple of decisions quickly go against him, including that penalty shout. Well, it was what you might call naive defending. Adnan stretched his leg out. It was prime for Suarez to fall over, which he did. But I would argue it was to Suarez's detriment that Svein Moen was so close to the challenge. I think he's got his message through to Ahmad Ibrahim. Bit of a stamp near Ladero. Right at the end, he just looked to pull his foot away, and Suarez was already on the way down. It's awkward for players like Suarez because there will be times when he's genuinely fouled and will get nothing. (1-0) to Uruguay in this first leg. Jordan are ranked 70th in the FIFA ratings. Uruguay are world number 6, which is impressive. They've kept their placing since the World Cup. Had a couple of friendlies lately of Jordan, which resulted in 1-0 wins over Nigeria and Zambia, respectively. Zahran was faced by Arevalo Rios, and he's still going. And he 3 to aim for in the middle. That was very good, impressive play. It's a corner for Jordan. Out off the goal scorer Maxi Pereira. Quarter-finalist in the UEFA Champions League last season with Porto. Reached the Europa League final with them. The Champions League quarter-final was the season before. Hassan will take the corner kick for Jordan. Baniatea has made his way up also. Easily headed away by Gigio Arevalo Rios, who was in the World Cup and Copa America squads that did so well under Tabarez. That wasn't helpful by Godin. Adnan Hassan. Al Shakran has come all the way across. Nasser. Al Saifi played it down the middle. Now that was an interesting one. Godin coming away. Ade Zaran looked up, got nothing. But should he have got something? Well, there was a challenge on the back, certainly. It definitely looked as if he was going down before any proper contact was made. Most of the creativity coming from Oda Kader Al Saifi. Still only 22. Won last season's league title with Shabab Al Ordon. And for Hossam Hassan and the twin brother Ibrahim, and you will have caught sight of him on the bench as well. They are identical twins. I'm sure there are times when Ibrahim is standing up and Hossam's on the bench, but honestly, who can tell? Backheel by Rodriguez wins the throw-in for Uruguay out of Saeed Morjan, who was in the side, who finished runners-up in the Pan-Arab Games 2 years ago. They didn't get out of their group in the West Asian Championship last year, which for them was quite unusual. Normally played around Christmas time. Suarez outnumbered. Nice skill by Tarek Zayed, though he didn't really have to do that in his own area. Godin lost it. And a free kick against Arevalo Rios. Down went Ahmed Hayal Ibrahim. 2 league titles with Al Faisali before moving to Kuwait and Al Arabi. He scored 7 goals so far in the World Cup qualifiers. Uruguay's story here is a familiar one. They finished 5th in the South American Supergroup, behind Argentina, Colombia, Chile and Ecuador. Goal difference behind Ecuador in the end. They had to trounce Argentina on the final night in order to make it. Much more difficult run for Jordan to get here. They had the Asian playoff, which went to penalties against Uzbekistan after a 2-2 draw. 9-8 on penalties awards. They had finished 3rd in the final qualifying group behind Japan and Australia. They finished 2nd in the regular group behind Iraq. That was the 3rd round. There were 2 knockout rounds prior to that, including a 10-1 win on aggregate over Nepal. 9-0 in the home first leg. They didn't have to play in the first round, likes of Macau. Afghanistan played in that. Macau lost 13-1 in the first round to Vietnam. That was in June 2011. It is a long road to Brazil. Saeed Morjan took it away, and a bit like Adnan Hassan's effort after 3 minutes, decided to have a whack from a long way out, and would A, have to be incredibly accurate, and B, incredibly powerful in order to have made a way past Martin Silva, and really that was neither. My colleagues further forward, he's looking for a 1 in a million goal, and really for something like that you have to be a 1 in a million player. It's the 19th game of the World Cup qualifying campaign for Jordan and the 17th for Uruguay. And in that time, Uruguay have conceded 25 goals and have scored 26. And it's that 26th goal that has them in front here approaching half-time. Suarez looking for handball off Tarek Zayad. When it comes to World Cups, a topic in which he's an expert. Long by Mohamed Shetnawi. Kept up well by Akel. Wide again for Adai Al-Saifi. Corner was prevented well by Didio Arevalo Rios to get it away. Well travelled in his career, Arevalo Rios. Mexico, bit of Brazil, was with Botafogo a couple of years ago, spell in Italy, most recently with Palermo before crossing over to Chicago Fire. Back by Baniatea. This is Tarek Katab Zayad, the league leaders. Al Waidat. They provided a few to the squad, but Al Fasali of the most representatives, they have been, as mentioned, the most successful side in recent years in Jordan. Silva coming to claim. Third international appearances for him tonight. It's not the first choice goalkeeper for either side. Long by Silva, but met by captain Hatem Akel. Well, since he helped Jordan win the Pan-Arab Games of 1999, Hatem Akel has been one of the great players of Jordanian football. Just like Germany, they've got their own chant leaders here, though without a microphone. Suarez. Well, they play themselves out of trouble very well there. Al-Shakra. Odey Sharan, and now it's with Adnan Hassan. It's come back very deep. Not much for Spinod Marmon to worry about so far. It's been a calm game for this young Norwegian official to keep an eye on. A couple of very slender penalty shouts in which the right call was made on each occasion. And just the one really strong yellow card challenge so far. Baniatea. Shot by Ahmad Ibrahim. Would have done very well to get there to keep it in. Diego Godin was covering. And remember, there is strength on the bench as well. Andres Scotti, Alvaro Pereira, Walter Gargano, and Diego Forlan. Gaston Ramirez as well, who may well be moving away from the English game shortly. Hasn't had a start with Southampton yet this season. So if Uruguay do get in trouble, there's a lot for Oscar Tabarez to bring off the bench. Jordan has stated, I'm missing a few for this game, and as a result, the bench not with as much experience as they'd have wished. Fell for Ladero, and a chance for two, and it's been put home by Christian Stuani. El Matador de Tata has made Jordan see red, and with a second away goal in this first leg, that might well be that. Three minutes to go to half-time. Uruguay pounce again with another well-taken finish, but for the Hassan brothers defensively, that is purely frustrating. It all started from the throw from Cáceres on this near side. And again, you may say a bit of misfortune for Jordan, but it was their most creative player, Adai Al-Saifi, who was between Stuani and the final ball. Back four, totally fell asleep. It's Stuani's second goal for his country in 6 internationals, and Uruguay lead 2-0, and those who've made the trip to Jordan will be satisfied they've done so. Well, the move to Spain has definitely done Stuani well. Made the bulk of his appearances this year for the Uruguay national team, and they're certainly happy now that he's emerged. As it stands, a much more comfortable playoff position than it was 4 years ago. Long by Silva for Stuani, given away, claimed by Baniatea. Cáceres, man who scored the winning penalty in the shootout against Argentina in the Copa America quarter-final 2 years ago. Peak of their recent string of successes. Cavani tried to increase this successful outing. Cut out by Said Al-Murjan. It's Suarez. He was caught from the back just as he was about to set fire on the Jordanian goal again. Al-Murjan's challenge. It's a second yellow card for Jordan. Al-Murjan was the player who tried a 40-yarder earlier in the game. Didn't get the tackle right. Suarez set to shoot. Not quite where Cavani wanted it, not quite where referee Moan wanted it. Into stoppage time in this first half. Cavani, 38 club goals for Napoli last season, fancies the crack. None too shabby in the Championat either. 9 goals in 12 games for Paris Saint-Germain this season. Cavani found the wall, and the follow-up by Aravala Rios might prove quite useful for Stuani, who was in the same place again, pretty much where he popped up for the goal a few minutes ago. Suarez has been closely marked, but hasn't really been kept quiet. It's a deep one for Christian Rodriguez. Decent header back, aimed towards Cavani again, but it'll be gathered by Adai Zakran. So far, so good for Uruguay. 2-0 up at half-time in this first leg of the World Cup playoff. Maxi Pereira and Christian Stuani both taking advantage of defensive mistakes in the Jordanian back four. Basically absent for both. Pereira tapping into an empty net, and Stuani having evaded the last gasp challenge of Jordan's main playmaker, Adai Al Saifi. Tapped it underneath Mohamed Chetnawi, the third choice Jordanian goalkeeper. He's created a lot for the home side, but they finished nothing. And at half-time in Amman, it's Jordan 0, Uruguay 2. Back at the Amman International Stadium, it's the World Cup playoff, and Uruguay lead Jordan 2-0 at half-time. And the great and the good of Jordanian life look somewhat fed up. It's the King's brother, by the way, who's the head of the Football Association in Jordan, Prince Ali bin Al Hussein. And that is not a very pleasant scoreline for Jordan at half-time. They're on the brink of their first World Cup finals, but 2-0 down at home in the first leg. And it makes the situation look quite grim for them. Maxi Pereira and Christian Stuani with the first half goals, and on both occasions the Jordanian back four just basically fell asleep. So hello again from Will Downing. It's an elongated half-time break here. Very decent Uruguayan contingent here. Some who I'm sure have come from Uruguay. There's been a lot of emigration actually from that nation in the past 10 years or so. Around 20% of the entire Uruguayan population has moved abroad. Few hours flight away from different major European locations. I know a couple of Venezuelan sound technicians, so there's no reason why we shouldn't have a whole load of Uruguayans based in Europe who took a couple of days off work, made their way here. It's quite a conference in the tunnel, which was very quickly skipped away from. 99 is a lucky number in the monarchy in Jordan, so that's the importance of that number, and the importance of 2014 we know all about. Frankly, outside of the goals, Jordan played quite well. In truth, they didn't have very many defensive lapses. You could actually argue that the opportunity a couple of minutes in, which opened the door for Suarez, was in some ways worse than the two they were punished for. But as usual, Tabares has set his side up well. Two more games to get through, and Uruguay are currently on track. Still 11 nations have to book their places at the World Cup. Uruguay look to be halfway there. That Maxi Pereira's third goal for his country 22 minutes in. And then Stuani. Just look at where the entire Jordanian defence is. They're basically halfway to Damascus. Stuani slipped in, made it two. That only his second goal for his country. And Uruguay well in control. Nicolas Ladero has been a firm contributor so far today. For Uruguay, it's 7 p.m. local time. Cavani's had a couple of good openings in the game. And Suarez too. It's two unlikely scorers out of Uruguay in a very strong position on the way to World Cup 2014. Two goals to the good as we resume in Amman. And Mohamed Shatnawi has not really put a lot of confidence into what looked to be a quite majorly unsettled back four for Jordan. Free kick given against Diego Godin. And Ahmed Ibrahim. He's already scored 2 goals in the Asian Cup qualifiers for 2015. Got them both against Singapore. 15 times he scored for his country. He's the most prolific of the current squad. Captain Hakel has scored 9. It's Sharif Adnan who'll take this free kick. Previously played international football for Palestine, though not in competitive games. And he played a short one down the middle, and it was a good idea. Slipped in by El Saifi. Stuani got the incomplete clearance away. It's forward by El Saifi again. This is Sharif Adnan. Decent hanging cross. It'll fall to El Saifi again. Never really got behind it properly. That got the royal family and everybody else very, very happy indeed and on their feet. King Abdullah has just made his seat for the second half. His wife is Palestinian Queen Rania, and there is quite a divide in Jordan at the moment between those who came across the borders from Palestine and those who've been in the country longer. But when it comes to the national team, they are happily all united. King Abdullah is second from the right, and his brother, who's head of the Football Association, is on the left. It's a painful picture being painted for Diego Godin at the moment. Spectacular clearance of Hatem Akel. It's in the Al Faisali side, who won the AFC Cup twice, the continental competition throughout all of Asia. Cavani couldn't quite combine with Suarez. Gathered by Ala El Shakran. Occasional captain. Another man who's helped Jordan to a couple of major subcontinental finals. Adnan Hassan. Oday Zaran of the league champions Shabab Al Ordon. Made his debut a year ago against Iraq in the West Asian Championships, but it's his 17th international appearance now. Huge amount of World Cup qualifiers Jordan have to play. Quite a lot of international competitions that they can compete in. And the Asian Cup is only the top level. You've got the Pan-Arab Games, West Asian Championships. Arab Nations Cup has been sporadic in its playing. And they've given the bib to Hossam Hassan. Baniatea. On a night like this, you would still fancy Cavani and Suarez to do their utmost to get their names on the score sheet. Pereira and Stuani have managed that so far this evening. Oday Zakran making a brilliant way down the right-hand side. Well, that was the moment. Jordan's best chance of the game by far, and arriving at the near post was Ahmed Ibrahim, and he had the royal family off the bench, but they sat down quickly again because he missed. What an opportunity. I presume from the royal box that looked as if it was it. Certainly did to Adnan Hassan, and then the agony of realising being put wide by Ibrahim. They may not get a better chance all game. But a superb move that involved Adnan Hassan and Adai Zaran first of all. Suarez stumbled, Al-Shakran claimed it back for Jordan. Away by Lugano. More central route this time, being led by the very, very hard-working Hassan. His only international goal came very recently against Kuwait in a 1-1 draw in this stadium. They played a whole series of friendlies around their World Cup qualifiers. They've also had Asian Cup qualifiers as well as part of their schedule in the past 6 months. And they're going to make their first change of the game as well. And maybe a bit of an irony that after involvement in that brilliant move, Adai Zaran will be brought off and Tayyar Bawab is coming on. Now he's the player based in Romania with Gaz Metan, and who's in the past played for Real Madrid B and Barcelona B. He spent most of his career in Spain, albeit in the likes of the Segunda and the Segunda B, the second and third flights of Spanish football. Decent ball played through by the new man, Tayyar Bawab. It almost culminated in a decent chance in the middle yet again for Ahmed Ibrahim. Who came so close to breaking the Jordanian deadlock. Agonisingly close. And that and the cross-come shot from El Saifi midway through the first half, the best opportunities that Jordan have had in the game. They brought a player of decent quality in Bawab on now. Helped Gaz Metan Medius of Romania qualify for the Europa League. Beat Mainz impressively in the qualifying rounds, albeit by a penalty shootout. Lost in the final playoff round to Austria Vienna. Still haven't made it to the group stages, but it's changing times in the Romanian game. New names coming up all the time. No reason why we couldn't see Gaz Matan in a group stage very soon, and they do have quite a high coefficient as well. Well, remember Cluj won away at Roma, drew with Chelsea, the Champions League. Too strong a pass in the end from Adai El Saifi. Those who've gone abroad from Jordan have mainly only done so to neighbouring countries. But if they make it to a World Cup, well, you're talking about a very good shop window for Jordanian football, potentially some of their players going to stronger European leagues and arguably becoming better players, certainly being surrounded by better players as a result. A lot of that rubbing off on them. They might just have asked Hossam Hassan to put the bib on so that the cameraman can tell who's who. Christian Rodriguez. Good running down the left-hand side, and Suarez dummied it. Stuani wasn't anticipating it. Al-Shak ran away. Short touch by Christian Rodriguez. Suarez found himself surrounded. I went down under the challenge of Adnan Hassan. I think he had a very good case there. It certainly seemed to be brought down by the arms of the Jordanian midfielder. Arm round the hips, that's enough. Uruguay still do have the throw anyway. Controlled by Rodriguez, but Taher Bawab had no opportunity of breaking through, and Suarez perfectly primed, head was down, body well tilted in that usual style of his when he's very much in the groove. Uruguay certainly are, despite their unusual goal scorers tonight. Foul by Nicolas Ladero gives Jordan this free kick. The foul on Ala Al-Shakran El-Bashir, who's been very busy tonight for Jordan. And they're going to make another change here, and it's arguably one of the best players of the night who's being brought off, El Saifi. It is an unusual change, and it's Musab Ahalam who's on. Scuffed away by Stuani, controlled by Bawab. It's up towards the new boy, Munter Akhalab, and he's gone down, and he's been on the pitch 30 seconds, and he's in the book for diving. Talk about making an unwelcome entrance. Musab Akhalam has immediately got on the wrong side of the referee. Challenge from Cavani. And he left his foot in, and he allowed himself to be caught. It's 3 yellow cards so far, all against Jordan. Akalam plays his football in Saudi Arabia for Najran. He sets up Bawab here. Cavani short, Suarez waiting at the edge of the area, Ladero there too. Just by Stuani. Just ran past Edigio Arevalo Rios. No strike in the end, was really a bit of a teaser from Cristian Rodriguez. Certainly Shatnawi had a bit of trouble in controlling. He's launched a long one. Lugano out for the Jordan throw-in. Musab Akhalab with it. Support from Saeed Al Morjan alongside. No long shots from him this time. Instead tried to play in Bani Atewa, who's certainly a man you could consider well finding. And he was on the scene when the foul was committed on Cavani. Uruguay with the free kick in a prime spot. And it was a rugby tackle by Hassan. And he did the same, not quite as severe on Suarez a couple of minutes earlier. Has not been cautioned yet in the game, which is what Cavani wanted. And it is something the referees very much frown on, and FIFA made a ruling against players waving imaginary yellow cards, but if that didn't merit a booking, I'm not totally certain what does. They have lost one of the players on yellows, by the way. Al Saifi withdrawn a few minutes ago. Akhalab and Al Morjan are still on the pitch with cautions. That was aimed again at Akhalab. And since the withdrawal of the very creative Al Saifi, the Jordanian tactics have definitely changed. They're a lot more direct and a lot being aimed at this man who had the effort on goal. Akhalab has won the corner kick for Jordan here. Massive deflection off Arevalo Rios, and it's a corner for Jordan, their first of the second half. They've sent 5 up. Lugano was up but wasn't the one who connected. Sent back in again by El Shakran El Bashir. Bounced in front of Hassan. Bawab worked to squeeze it towards this near side, somehow try and find his fellow substitute Musab Akhalab. And they are going to make a third change around the hour mark very shortly. First playoff of the day. Later it is Mexico against New Zealand. That's in around 4 hours' time. It will be live on this channel. And Bani Atewa's game has now come to a close. And those 3 changes have been made by Hossam Hassan in the space of 10 minutes. They've looked a better side since the changes. And it's Rakan Bani Khaled who's on. Plays for Al Ramta, only his 10th international appearance. He scored 2 goals, and he was in the Jordanian squad that reached the final of the Pan-Arab Games 2 years ago, the multi-sport event. Forward by Cavani. Good play, Cavani. Very strong link-up it was between him and Stuani on this near side. Akhalab Poked it through. This is Tayyar Bawab. And now the opening for Al Mourjan, who, when he's been in that situation before, has taken the shot, but instead played it out for Rakan Khaled. And that was not the right call this time. Well, the fresh legs has certainly given Jordan extra impetus in this second half. But Uruguay still hold a 2-goal advantage. Bawa. Cavani got bogged down. Linked up again now with Ezekiel Lavezzi at Paris Saint-Germain, and it's certainly yielded fruit at club level for Cavani with his 9 goals so far this season in France. Rodriguez. Aimed towards Douani again, and it might just have fallen a second time for him. Round about the same position from which he scored late in the first half. That'll be a free kick for Jordan. Lugano was leaning all over, thwarting Ibrahim. And what a disappointing end to a move and potential for Jordan. Sharif Adnan letting it bobble past him. Al Mourjan now wide for Musab Akalab, and there's plenty of red waiting in the middle. It's not quite an all-or-nothing situation for Jordan right now, but if they're trailing 2-0 in the home leg, stays this way, they've little chance in the away. And not good anticipation in the end from Ahmed Hayal Ibrahim. The ball by Al-Bashir was, to be frank, quite reasonable. Was right in front of Ahmed Ibrahim, and he was simply pulled out of it. Cavani's in here, needed support, gets it now. It's 3. It's Nicolas Lodeiro, and barring the shouting and barring the second leg, Uruguay are on their way to the World Cup. 3-0 up midway through the second half of the away leg, and there's no stopping Uruguay now. Again, it was very, very poorly defended. And the South American champions are just too good. And what pain for a man who has worked so hard in getting his side to this point. And all 3 goals have basically seen schoolboy defending. There were 6 players between the ball and the goal line, and Lodeiro still scored, and it wasn't hard for him. Only his 3rd goal for his country. Again, it's quite an unusual scorer for Uruguay, but they're finding it very easy now. A lovely finish by Lodeiro, who will now be joined by Alvaro Pereira in the side. It's a double change. It's 3-0, and it's so easy. Job done now, really. And it had been anticipated by quite a few of the European sides that if Uruguay were to win this first leg comfortably, that quite a few of the bigger names may well be released for the second leg. They may well individually be given a choice in the matter as well. Remember, the second leg of this is next Wednesday, which is a day after the second leg of the European playoffs. That second leg is in Montevideo, so none of the players will be back in Europe until the Thursday. And it's a long flight back. Rodriguez with the header. Jordan may have had more attempts on goal than Uruguay, but there's been better quality to the Uruguayan efforts. Pereira. All going wrong for Hossein Hassan now. Suarez. Well, between them, Pereira, Stuani and Ladero had only ever scored 5 goals for Uruguay collectively. And in rising at 2-8, they have put their nation virtually through to the World Cup finals. Still the formality of seeing out this game and next week. Ahmed Ibrahim looked up, hurt emotionally. Al-Morjan wide for Musab Akhalab. Back heel for Sharif Adnan. Wide for Musab Akhalab again. And a cross goal and wide. Obviously took a little nick along the way. Jordan have won themselves a corner kick. Looking very much now as if South America will have 6 representatives at the World Cup. 4 have gone through automatically. Uruguay through the playoff. Brazil as hosts. Lots of movement in different parts of the world that they should have a little bit of extra representation. Truth be told, none of the African sides qualified for the knockout rounds 3 years ago, and all of the South American teams did. And Uruguay, the ones who went the furthest to the semi-finals, but they had the longest road to South Africa. Sent in from Akhalab towards the edge of the area. Good strong header away by Diego Lugano. Out went Christian Rodriguez. Lakan El Khalidi has been fouled by Martin Cáceres. Hasn't been a yellow card for Uruguay yet. Really long gone since the days when they had the reputation of being the hardest South American team. Mexico 86 being the prime example of that. Red card after 60 seconds, you might remember, against Scotland. It's teed up neatly, Bawab. Well, they continue to have men over. They've 7 men in and around the area here. Akhalab has won another corner kick. Star has dipped a little bit since winning Copa America, but they still look good candidates to go a long way. Brazil you would give a lot of attention to as hosts, and how well they played during the Confederations Cup against top quality opposition. Uruguay were helped by a very good draw in South Africa, and something along the same lines could see them go a long way again, even though yet again they've had to do it through the playoffs. Fizzed all the way through and again fell for Martin Silva. Been largely untroubled. That really out of nothing tight angle strike after 18 minutes from Al Saifi, and the poke wide by Ibrahim 6 minutes after the restart have been Uruguay's main moments of suffering in the game. Palpitations, but nothing worse than that. And that hasn't changed. Alvaro Pereira and Gaston Ramirez, the two who were brought on a few minutes ago. It's hit the atmosphere definitely. As a neutral, you would have wished for a Jordanian goal. But there may be more coming at the other end. It's 4-0 and Christian Rodriguez gets in the act. The man they call the Onion is now making Jordan cry. There's no doubting who's going to win this World Cup playoff. Uruguay lead 4-0. with 15 minutes to go in the first leg. 8th international goal and his 69th international appearance for Uruguay. And there is no way back for Jordan now. 4-0 down at home. The away leg to come. It's Uruguay's place in Brazil that is being clinched here tonight. Well, there is a rule in the Copa do Brazil: if you win the first leg away by more than 2 goals, the second leg isn't played. And it would be appropriate for a game like this. Jordan are not anywhere near the same standard of Uruguay, and the 5th place nation in Asia being hammered by the 5th best team in South America. In terms of the World Cup qualifying, I personally would have them up with Brazil and Argentina. They have got great prospects of going a long way again next year. Jordan still have a long journey coming next week to Montevideo. And another long effort, which was not on target from Akalab. And it's a shame for Jordan. They've come a long way. It was very, very hard to even make it this far. But you can see in the background a few milling bodies deciding that now is a good time to go home. Crowd beginning to dissipate. And now they can bring Suarez off, a man whom there's been a lot of attention around in Jordan. A lot of locals have been wanting to see him in the flesh and the man who's replacing him. And together, it's not a bad partnership. But Suarez is off, Forlan is on for his 106th international appearance. And the way Uruguay have been playing, you wouldn't bet against him scoring. Although there has been a somewhat unusual pattern around the scorers so far tonight. Forward by Al-Bashir. Well, there is one continent who still has a survival game coming in terms of reaching the World Cup. Oceania, New Zealand facing Mexico tonight. Mexico at home in the first leg. New Zealand finishing top of the Oceania qualifiers. Tahiti, the continental champions, didn't make it. They were actually third in the group. They earned a lot of fans for their attitude during the Confederations Cup. Uruguay beat them 8-0. That first leg will be in around 4 hours' time. Japan, Australia, Iran and South Korea are the four who will represent Asia in the World Cup, and Jordan will not be there. There may be still around 100 minutes to go overall in this tie, but I don't think it's premature making that judgment. Perhaps it's a bad day at the office, but they have been very heavily outclassed by Uruguay today. They came out very well for the first 20 minutes. Whether it's tiredness or just a lack of concentration or just class telling in the end, it has been comprehensive victory for Uruguay today. Hasn't necessarily been a comprehensive performance. They haven't had to play at full level. And Cavani takes up the story and somehow manages to find Rosed, which in this stadium is quite something. Well, Suarez had a great chance early on. Cavani a great chance near the end, and they both ballooned it. In terms of CONCACAF, Costa Rica, the USA and Honduras have made it. Door still open for Mexico in the two legs of the playoff, which will get underway later tonight. Argentina, Colombia, Chile, Ecuador, Brazil, and almost definitely Uruguay will provide the greatest ever South American representation at a World Cup, which, considering there are 10 nations that are members of CONMEBOL, for 6 to make it is a good feat. And they all deserve to be there. They're all strong enough. You could rank Uruguay right now as being the 6th strongest South American nation, just in terms of the World Cup qualifiers, and yet they are noticeably better than many other countries in the world. They are 6th in the FIFA rankings. This playoff has not really been in any way Cagean. the only reason Oscar Tabarez is looking at the watch is just presumably to see when he can go back inside. First 20 minutes was edge of the seat stuff when Jordan still had a chance, but they didn't convert. They had their chances too, they didn't. They might now. And again, they haven't. Smothered by Lugano in a way. Cavani back deep. So man still putting a lot in. He may not be satisfied if he leaves the pitch without a goal tonight. Not sure Suarez was. Has been intimated that with Uruguay at home in the second leg, they may decide that some of the bigger names won't be required. Still some good talents within the Uruguayan league. Actually, you play across South America. This is one of them, and Pereira, who plays it forward. Good ball wide for Cavani. He was always going to cut inside because he didn't want to be a crosser or a contributor of a fifth goal, but a scorer. I think that's pretty obvious. Wading in from deep. Of this current squad, they've only 2 domestic players. Juan Castillo doesn't play tonight, the goalkeeper, and Andres Scotti, the veteran of Nacional. Forlan plays his football now in Brazil, as does Ladero for Internacional and Botafogo, respectively. Alejandro Silva didn't come on, he's with Olympia. Martin Silva in goal is with them as well. Third choice goalkeeper Rodrigo Munoz is with Libertad. And frankly, there's good enough talent to call on from the rest of South America in terms of Uruguayan players, both overseas and in the Uruguayan league, who would do a pretty tasty job, really, in the second leg. And of course, they may just decide to bring the likes of Suarez and Forlong and Cavani along just to complete the job. There's a case for all of them wanting to be involved next week, rounding off their World Cup qualifying campaign, which will be a successful one, in front of their own fans at the wonderful Centenario. It'll fall for Akalab. It's good, tenacious play right at the end by Taya Bachwab. And he forced the save out of Martin Silva, who has been very underworked tonight. Forlan went for it, almost got it. Shatnawi pushing it away for the corner kick. But even in the 89th minute, Uruguay are still yearning for more. It had been a good move, pulled across in the end by Taya Bawab. But within 30 seconds, Uruguay almost had a 5th goal. Pereira. Arevalo Rios aimed for Cavani in the middle, and Forlan will keep it alive. Cavani was primed for that, appreciative of the cross. Uruguay are still vying for more. It says a lot about their killer instinct. There's been no knocking the ball around the back, running down the clock. When they got 2, they wanted a 3rd. When they got 3, they wanted a 4th. And now they have 4. They won't be satisfied until number 5 goes in. And it almost did there. Forlan involved, the knockback by Alvaro Pereira. And that mean streak still survives. It was a good shot by Rodriguez. Corner it is. And however many minutes of added time there is, will be far too much from a Jordanian point of view. Free kick in the edge of the area. It could yet get worse for Jordan. 4 added minutes. 4-0 for Uruguay. Mohamed Shatnawi has definitely had a baptism of fire tonight, his 4th international appearance. Can't really blame him for the scoreline. Jordan en masse have defended awfully. The Hassans were 2 decent defenders. Ibrahim certainly more. Hossam got forward a lot more, ended up being a striker for a lot of his career. Big argument that Jordan have had to face a higher standard than what they have done for a lot of the Asian qualifying campaign. It's Cavani, 5-0. Brazil, here come Uruguay. And Edison Cavani has reacted as if he scored in the World Cup final. Well, Uruguay have a much better chance of playing in it than Jordan. They've gone nab. The closest Jordan have ever come to qualifying for the World Cup. And with a game to go, they know they're not going to make it. Cavani wanted that goal so bad, and he has it now. It was a wonderful free kick, and the wall and Shatnawi absolutely rooted. 20th goal in 59 internationals for Edison Cavani, and that's 5-0 for Uruguay. It was a lovely, lovely free kick. He's definitely enjoying a golden period. During his 3 seasons at Napoli, he never scored less than 30 goals a season. Scored 33 in his first 2 campaigns there, in all competitions. And then in his final season there last year, he scored 38. But he's doing the same at Paris Saint-Germain, which, well, I think you take Ligue 1 to be a step below Serie A, certainly. But it is much tighter football there. A lot more tactically defensive than Italy is these days in the French league, despite a big glut of goals early last season. It's pretty much gone back down to the goal average that has been constant in France for the past 5-6 years. High goal average tonight, though. It's 5-0 for Uruguay, heading into next week's second leg. It's hard lines on Jordan in their 19th game on the road to the World Cup. But Uruguay are certainly on their way there, and they've avoided this potential banana skin very, very well. I think that's a handshake of concession, because Jordan could not live with Uruguay today, and it may well be the same story next week in the second leg. You have to feel very sorry for them, but they've been very well supported. They fit 25,000 into this stadium, which is not the biggest in the country, but it's the stadium in which they've been the most successful. I fear tonight did not add to the history. Goals from Maxi Pereira, Christian Stauni, Nicolas Ladero, Christian Rodriguez and Edison Cavani have basically killed off this playoff well ahead of next week's return in Montevideo. which will be a lap of honour. It's a celebration, and Uruguay are celebrating now as if they've qualified for the World Cup, because essentially they have. They are not going to lose 5-0 next week, or 6-0. Jordan, sadly, just have not been up to the Uruguayan challenge today. It's great news for Uruguay. It means the team that eked through the playoffs last time out, it's been a much more comprehensive performance from them this time round, and we will have 6 South American nations for the World Cup. We can call it a week early. Uruguay are going to qualify for the World Cup in Brazil. The full-time score in Oman. It's only half-time in the playoff, but practically it is all over. Jordan 0, Uruguay 5.